So if we're running A/B tests and we're adding trials, variations, for example, and we care about keeping our error rate small, remember that 5 out of 100 error rate, that's 5%, the more trials that we add, the higher the likelihood we're going to see at least one error. In fact, there's a really easy math formula that we can use to visualize this, and that's 1 minus p, where p is our probability, so in this case it would be 0.05, raised to the power of n, where n is the number of trials that we observe. So if I'm running a test with 5 variations, that's 5 separate times I could see a potentially random p-value, 5 trials. The likelihood of me seeing at least one significant error in 5 trials is 22%. It's a lot different from 5%, right? So you might be saying to yourself, okay, well in that case I won't test any more than 1 variation. But there's another area where you could make this mistake, and that's called peaking. If I'm checking my data more than once, let's say I decide to check on my A/B test on Monday, and then I check it again on Tuesday, and then I check it a third time on Wednesday, well, if we assume that the null hypothesis is true, then that means that each time I check, the probability of seeing a random p-value could be anything, right? It could be 0.05. So we're increasing the number of trials. Every time I check is additional trials. So if I check it 3 times, my probability of observing a type 1 error, at least one, is now 14%. So here's the mother lode of those problems. Let's say I'm running 5 different variations, and I decide to check my test once a day for 10 days. 5 different variations, 5 probabilities of seeing a random result, multiplied by 10 different checks, that's 50 trials. The chance of me seeing at least one significant error is 92%. It's highly, highly probable. This is one of the biggest areas that I see conversion optimization analyst people making, right? Checking your data over and over, and then once you see a significant result, you stop. The reason you clearly shouldn't do that is because the more trials you add, the more likely it becomes that you see an error, okay? So how do you fix it? You check your data once. If you check it once, your error rate is 0.05.